Good Saturday evening, everyone. I just wanted to give you an update on our weather situation for tonight and give you kind of a preview of what I'm looking for after this event is over with and the interesting weather that may develop in January. So, first of all, let's get to tonight. We're seeing a tornado outbreak tonight in Mississippi. This outbreak has been going on for several hours now. There's been lots of homes destroyed. I've seen unconfirmed reports of injuries and fatalities talked about on Twitter. I hope that's not true, but it's not looking good. There's been a lot of destruction tonight, and there's going to be even more before this is all said and done. The Storm Prediction Center continues to highlight our area in that green shading that you see there for the marginal risk for severe weather. That is the lowest of the 5 risk categories, but they do feel that it is warranted that they leave that in effect for the rest of the night. That does include a 2% risk for a tornado. Now, I know that sounds really low, and it is, but it's still a risk, and so we can't completely ignore that. But the greater risk by far is down across portions of Mississippi and Alabama, and activity is expected to weaken as we go through the night. But it could still, it's a very dynamic system, a very powerful storm system, and it could still pack a bit of a punch when it comes across the plateau later tonight. So looking at the radar, the current radar, I've circled the plateau in the yellow circle you see there. The warm front is well to our south. That's what you see draped across Mississippi and Alabama and into Georgia. That is a big focus for some of the stronger storms. And you see all those tornado warnings in Mississippi. They are on the south side of that front where it is much warmer and much more humid, much more unstable. We are north of that front where it's not as unstable, so our threat is less. Now you look over toward Nashville, they're getting rain and moderate rainfall, that is moving north. So we are remaining not rain cooled here on the plateau. And I'm not seeing a whole lot to our south that's going to change that before the line gets here later on tonight. So, there still is a risk for some instability that would lead to a damaging wind gust. We have a lot of wind energy just up above us that is screaming with what we call a low level jet. So I say all this to say our risk is still really low tonight, but it's not zero. So if you choose to go into bed, make sure you have your weather radio turned on just in case. You're probably not going to need it, but I never feel comfortable telling folks to go to bed without the weather radio turned on when the Storm Prediction Center still has us highlighted in at least a small risk. And I myself feel like we still have a small risk of a strong to severe thunderstorm later on tonight. So my level of concern remains at level 2. That is still a low end risk, but again, it's not zero. So Premier Generators brings us our severe weather threat levels and itty bitty chance for a spin up tornado. That would be mainly south of Cumberland County if there's that risk. Straight line winds still a risk. I don't think damaging hail is anything to really worry about, and I don't think flooding, even though we've got some heavy rainfall coming. Our ground is very dry, and parts of the plateau remain in the extreme drought, so we have plenty of places for the rain to go. I will say that the time frame, I do feel like bumping that up to the midnight to 4 a.m. time frame would be the threat time. So if you hear thunder, hear some wind, that's that line coming through. And I do think our threat comes with a line, not with any discrete cells out ahead of it. That would be even worse. We don't have conditions favorable for that kind of stuff, but a line is something that we'll have to monitor as it comes closer to our area. So Clearview, Closet, and Blind brings us our 5-day forecast. Sunday, AM rain and storms, then showers will remain with us, it looks like, all day. Highs in the upper 50s. Monday, that is the day to get outside and enjoy the weather because it is going to be partly cloudy and it is going to be warm, highs in the mid to upper 50s. And it is going to be the last pretty day for a long time. So you might want to make plans to get outside and enjoy that. Tuesday, the cold front comes through. This is the first of a series of cold fronts that will start coming through, and it is going to go from cold to colder to cold as we get on into January. A few flurries possible Wednesday morning, high of 40. Thursday, highs in the mid to upper 30s. That's warm compared to what we will likely see before January's through with us. So looking at my future threats. Now you all know how I don't like to look beyond the 5-day forecast, but in situations like this, confidence is extremely high. I would bet significant amounts of money that we are going to be cold the first half of January. Cold, getting colder and coldest and colder than that. With all that cold air comes the risk for wintry precipitation. I would be very surprised if we make it through these first 2 weeks of January without any wintry precipitation. It would almost be a miracle. And that is not only because it's going to be cold, it's going to be very cold, but the subtropical jet stream is looking like it's going to be active, which means the Gulf could be open for some business. Now, our first opportunity looks like maybe around January the 3rd. My confidence is holding in the medium level, which is crazy that far out that I would even have that much confidence in something. But and the same is true for the 5th through the 6th. And then again for the 9th through the 10th. And I've got there, if my confidence is increasing, decreasing, or holding steady, my confidence is increasing for that January 9th through the 10th event. Now, the January the 3rd event is looking like a light event, like what we've been seeing. But that January 5th and 6th and that January 9th and 10th could be very interesting. So model data is consistently, there's been 6 model runs now showing accumulating snowfall on us in these first 2 weeks of January. So like I said, it's going to be a miracle if we get out of these first 2 weeks of January without winter precipitation. It's almost a guarantee, especially around here climatologically, looking at the patterns, everything, all evidence is mounting that we will see some winter precipitation in these first 2 weeks of January because we are definitely going to see cold air. In fact, some of the model runs this afternoon came in showing us going 5-10 below zero at some point during this, especially as we get closer to the 11th and 12th of January. So yeah, I'm talking, and once we have that cold front where we go cold on Wednesday, I can't see any warm air through the middle of January, and maybe even a little bit beyond that. So winterize, winterize, winterize. You all see where Premier Generators is one of my sponsors. This is probably the time to be looking them up, just in case. Don't wait until you need a generator to get a generator, because then you're not going to be able to get a generator. Get it before you need it, or at least be thinking about alternatives to heat, this, that, and the other before everything gets rough and tumble. But again, Monday, that is going to be a beautiful day. Get outside and enjoy it. Get outside, get outside, get outside. You folks have a wonderful rest of your evening. I will be issuing updates on the app and the website. If you need to know anything about the storms coming in tonight, I'll be tracking it all, and I'll be watching all this crazy weather coming in January. You just keep it right here to meteorologistmark.com.